Cayman everywhere.
Everywhere.
Can you hear me now?
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Yes, right from your Android or iPhone. Download the Radio Cayman app now on your Android or iOS phone.
The Radio Cayman app
is where you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere you go.
Everywhere we go, we go. Everywhere we go, we go.
Find it in the Google Store, the Apple Store, or use the link at www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Yes, now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And RF Group, money at work.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees. So fair. Today is Wednesday, the 12th day of January 2022, right here in the Cayman Islands. And I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, be you a pedestrian, a cyclist, or operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please, please, please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday. Or if you've celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday to you as well. Those of you who have lost loved ones, we wish to convey our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing as well. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility, we wish you a speedy recovery as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. Radio voice of Silver Fox, Mr. Paul Akal, waiting to take your calls. Those calls can be made by calling our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. First of all, I will share with you the latest COVID-19 update received from the government. That was issued yesterday, Tuesday, the 11th of January, and it is reported that 2 more persons have died of COVID-19 related causes. That was reported yesterday by Public Health. And also yesterday, Chief Medical Officer Interim, Dr. Attila Newton, reported 440 new cases of COVID-19. This included 10 in travelers and 430 from the community. Meanwhile, the Public Health Department reported 838 PCR tests were conducted since the last report on Monday, the 10th of January, of which 249 out of that 838 were positive. 191 positive lateral flow tests were also reported during this period. The report goes on to point out that there have been 132 confirmed cases of the Omicron variant in the Cayman Islands to date. Meanwhile, the number of probable Omicron cases reached 1,604 on Tuesday, the 11th of January. The number of reported cases stood at 3,559, with 3,309 of those being linked to community transmission. The percentage of Cayman Islands population who are reported COVID positive currently stands at 5.01% of the total population. Total number of cases recorded in the Cayman Islands since the start of the pandemic stood at 11,666 at the same time. As far as the sister islands are concerned, there were 17 new cases found in the sister islands to date. To date, there have been 254 total cases recorded in the sister islands, with 139 having recovered. Out of a total number of cases in the sister islands, 152 were fully vaccinated, 8 were partially vaccinated, and 92 were unvaccinated, and 2 were unsure. I guess they were unsure. They're not sure whether or not they were vaccinated or not. That's a interesting position to be in. Very interesting. Sounds almost like Djokovic to a certain extent. Okay, so those are the figures that we have for the COVID-19 situation. And like I said, those were published yesterday. I'm going to introduce my guest. We do have a caller on hold already, so I'm going to quickly introduce my guest, and then we're going to go to the caller. And it, of course, is my pleasure, and you heard his voice before, to have in the studio with me again this morning, Dr. Steve McPhail. I checked with him to determine whether or not he was going to be at the opening of the Grand Court, and I am pleased to say that he will be in the studio. He is in the studio with us this morning. So, Doc, without any further ado, good morning. Welcome back again to For the Record. Great to have you.
Thank you, Mr. For the Record, and good morning to all your people in the For the Record land, and all the people in the Cayman diaspora, and all those people who listens to you from Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Good morning and Happy New Year again, if I didn't say so the last time I was here. It's good to be back with you, and I always look forward to your call.
Okay, so let's go straight to the phone lines. We got some early birds out there calling in, and we're really happy for that. We welcome them to call in immediately. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Oh, the call dropped. So, one of our listeners has said, please wish belated happy birthday greetings to Captain Paul Hurlston. And he has turned 91 years old yesterday. Wow. Yesterday was Captain Paul's birthday. 91 years old. Captain Paul, belated happy birthday to you. 91 and going strong still. When you listen to him talk, that voice is so strong and clear and positive voice.
And today's my birthday.
Oh, Doc. Good morning. Good morning. If I had known that, we would have had a cake here and have a party instead of a show this morning. Happy birthday to you too, Doc. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Okay. I'm going to look something up here on, in the meantime, day in history. And I know, Doc, that you're a big music fan and lived in the U.S. and Canada as well. So today, this date in history, January the 12th, 1959, was the date of the birth of Motown Records. Motown Records in Detroit. So that's the date of that birth of Motown Records, and I will share with our audience the history of that as well. But we do have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. How art thou, sir?
I want to be the first.
Good morning, Lord Graham.
Yeah, I want to be the first to wish the Honorable Doctor happy birthday out there in Radio Land.
Thank you very much.
I actually spent a lot of time with him yesterday up until... I must have been the last person outside his house members that saw him last night.
Thank you. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Lord Graham. And how was your fiefdom coming along?
Pretty good. I remember last year you forgot that it was your birthday. I took you for breakfast, myself and a few other I think OC might have been there.
Yes.
Yes. At Samboca in Savannah.
That's right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't remember it was your birthday until you get home.
Yes.
That your wife was preparing.
Yes.
So last night when you told me it was your birthday, I said, did you remember this one?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. That means he's getting younger.
Yes.
Younger, yeah. And 87.
Yes.
87. And let me put that out there. And going, like you say, like Captain Paul, going strong.
Yes, going backwards.
Not even to the corona can stop you.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
I'm going to ask him to tell us the secret of, staying young and staying so healthy. I'm going to make sure that he passes that piece of wisdom on to our listeners this morning as well.
Well, now we'll see. Now certain things are secret, So
no, but something like that you want to share with everyone.
We don't want everybody knowing that.
Yes. You don't want everyone to live too long.
Yes.
No. We want to be the one around. And so we didn't discuss that last night. If you don't cut me off too early, maybe we'll pass that on to you too. So be nice to me now.
Yes.
I don't want to put the good doctor on the spot to being it's his birthday, but we're concerned about a prayer about the people that understand their PR have been not suspended, canceled or revoked.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm hearing, you can give them no time to pay. But how are you going to pay for something that you now don't have? Because if it's revoked, that means you don't have it now, right?
Well, they certainly can ask it to be reinstated. They can ask for it to be reinstated, whether it will be reinstated or not. But would
they have to go through the same procedure that they did the first place?
Probably. They probably would have to go through the same thing, but certainly they can ask. They can ask once they've paid the fees. They can ask for it to be reinstated, and the board has. I guess the board has the discretion to do that, because you see, it's lack of payment of fees. That subject is very technical. And
technically,
yeah, and the problem that we find is that and I should make this statement that I should say this, and within this country, the rule of law has been one of our better cultural assets, which is why so many people want to immigrate here and have come here. There are some people who actually do not respect our laws. And I am proudly opposed to any people who deliberately refuse to comply with our laws. Our laws says that once you get permanent residence, that you have to pay the fee, and some people don't pay the fee. And some people have their employers pay the fee, which is which is good for them. But once the employer is agreed to pay the fee. When I was on the board for the airport authority, we had an employee who wasn't an American, and the board was and the authority was paying her fee, but the board didn't know that this was going on. And in other words, the person was signing the checks too, and sending them to the immigration every year. and the fact is that was not reported every month when we got the financial reports from the executive part of the authority. It was only when we found out, the board found out that the PR fees were being paid without our authority, that we stopped paying the fees, and then there were some consequences too. There were some consequences as a result of that. There were some grave consequences that flowed from that, and that I say there should be some grave there consequences that flows from when you were given residence in the country and you deliberately not pay for it. You can't do that in Canada or United States and all those places, because I believe the uncomfortable truth is that some people do not love this country, the land, its waters, and its people, and some people all do not respect our laws and the rule of law. And for me, I have no respect for them also, and I allow the law to take its course.
And Carl, of course, we have to realizing that Dr. McPhail is the chair of the Status and Permanent Residency Board, and while he does not have an original vote on the board, he does have a casting vote. So don't want to put him too much on the spot, from a public perspective, knowing quite well that he has to deal with these matters.
And what I
say, as a lawyer, I'm sure he can be circumspect in terms of what he can say.
I can't put words in his mouth. He knows exactly how to handle himself.
You don't have that many years at the bar yet, right?
Yes.
But I do have a lot of hours. I spend a lot of hours at his office and asking questions all day. You do your articles at night then? At night, late at evening.
All right, Lord Graham, want to thank you very much for that. We have to go to a commercial break.
Sure. Okay,
folks, please stay tuned. And also Dr. McPhail, someone called Hawaiian Tropic 86 wants to wish you a happy birthday as well. They say you would know who Hawaiian Tropic 86 is as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Thank you.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Irvin Theophilus Ebanks, 1889-1965. Irvin Ebanks was the son of James and Jessica Ebanks of Northside. He was an ambitious, hardworking, and industrious man. He cared for his family and friends, especially those of Northside, many of whom called him Governor. He and his wife Maggie, née McLaughlin, had 6 children. Like so many Caymanian men, he spent many of his younger years as a seaman and worked in the United States. On his return home from sea, he worked in many areas, serving Northside as a carpenter, farmer, merchant, barber, cobbler, tooth extractor, and telephone service provider. He also served as a member of the Assembly for several years. He was loved and respected by all who knew him.
Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Thank you, Cayman blood donor community. You answered the call at a time most critical, the holiday season. You came, you gave, you saved, you gifted. The National Blood Bank welcomed over 60 pints. Your pint, your gift of value beyond calculation. Thank you, dear blood donor. Thank you, staff of the HSA National Blood Bank. Thank you, nurses, physicians, housekeeping, admin staff, EMTs who worked tirelessly throughout the holidays, saving lives, using your pint, your gift of love to save lives. Thank you, Radio Cayman. Thank you, Health Minister Turner, for sounding the clarion call. A message from Rotary Central Community Service and the Cayman Blood Donor Service. Rotary serves to change lives.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have about 7 or 8 minutes before we're going to go right back to the 8 o'clock news, but we do have a caller. So, caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. It's Arden. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. Mr. McLean, how are you, sir? I haven't seen you since Christmas.
I know. Good morning, Dr. McPhail. Happy birthday, and I'm kind of glad that you're on this morning.
Yes. Thank you very much for that, too, for your kind remarks there. Yes.
I need to pick your brain.
You okay?
There is an issue that has been outstanding or implemented since November when we opened the borders. And I personally think it's imposing on my right to freedom of movement. And I want to pick your brain on that, and I think the public needs to know it too. It's in the public interest. And I should tell you that I have considered taking this to judicial review.
Okay.
All right. Now, what has happened is that whilst I understand Section 13 of the Constitution, which prevents government from hindering me in my movement, freedom of movement, right? Mm-hmm. There are provisions therein which allows government to put restrictions on me as a citizen of this country, but it's in the interest of
public health.
defense, public safety, public order, public morality, and public health. So I appreciate that and I accept that. So I have subjected myself to that. And so when you're going away, you are required to produce evidence that you are fully vaccinated, whether you put that to 2 or 3. And then you have to prove to the airline that you have been, you have received a negative test within 24 hours before you board that plane or thereabouts. And then they give you an attestation to sign saying that you're COVID-free and whatnot. That is for the American end of your journey. When you reach there, nobody asks you for it. So that tells me that the Americans are accepting the veracity of the Cayman Airways information they give them, right? Now, when I am trying to get back to this country, I have to submit, and I'm Caymanians now I'm talking about.
Caller, I'm going to interrupt you for a second because we have about 3 minutes left. I don't believe that you're going to be able to finish in those 3 minutes. So, and the news will be for about 15 minutes. So I will definitely have to interrupt you. And then I don't know whether or not you want to hold on or call back.
I'll have call back.
Yeah. Okay. But go, you still have a little more time.
Okay, let me give this to Doc so he can think about it during that break.
Right.
Okay. As a Caymanian, and I use that term, that category as Caymanian very widely, Dr. Maxfield, regardless of how you became Caymanian, you're Caymanian, okay? Caymanians are asked to submit their vaccination record to a department that was created recently to get a travel certificate. That travel certificate is based on them, I guess, verifying that vaccine, that I'm fully vaccinated. But then they give me a time period that I can come back and to the country of my birth, okay? They give me 3 months to be able to travel. Now, that's an encroachment on my rights because the Constitution specifically says that government cannot do that. I provide my travel documents, which I need to show that I'm when I arrive. Once I arrive in this country, Cayman Airways looks at the PCR test in Miami and the certificate. Once I arrive in this country, I then have to produce all those documents again for entry into my country. No country in this world is doing that. You cannot impose a period of time for me to travel if I have met the protocols of the restrictions that you are allowed to put on me under public health to protect the rest of the country. And I have provided those. And I'm talking about me as Caymanian and all Caymanians now, not me specifically, Doc. Caymanians.
So caller, you're not questioning the ability of the government to have those restrictions in terms of what you provide. Your question is that the time period that they're giving you 3 months, and within after that 3 month period, you have to apply for permission again. That is really your contention.
That is correct.
Okay.
That's a position on my right of freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom of movement. You cannot tell me that I have met all of the requirements and I'm not. And then when you get home, you got to do 2-day 5-day and 10-day. I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with all of those things because I want to be protected also.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot impose upon me a time frame that I can travel in, or I have to renew it.
Got you. I'm going to interrupt you right there now, but please call back. If not, we'll connect with you, but please call back around about 8:15 so that we can get back to this conversation. And I have another caller off air who has some questions in relation to quarantining as well. So lots to discuss this morning, folks. Please stay tuned. Top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. For the record, we'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Radio Cayman Time Check is now 8 a.m. This time check is brought to you by our friends at Foster's.
When you're on the go, the experienced team at Foster's Pharmacy are here to help. Drop off your prescription while you shop or WhatsApp us and we'll prepare it, ready for your arrival.
Whether you need prescription or over-the-counter medications, blood glucose testing, or advice on vitamins and supplements, we're here early in the morning to late at night. Both of our locations at our Camana Bay and airport stores are open 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., Monday to Saturday.
For more info, visit fosters.ky/pharmacy. Foster's Pharmacy. Better health because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Karsley Fuller. Proactive voluntary LFT testing is back in local schools.
Last week, the Department of Education Services and the Ministry of Education distributed approximately 100,000 lateral flow test kits to public schools, private schools, and ECCE centers.
Acting Director of the Department of Education Services, Tammy Hopkins, tells Radio Cayman the test kits that were distributed to students who have confirmed their participation in twice-weekly routine testing should, quote, help reduce the risk of transmission among the members of the school community and promote continued attendance. LGBTQIA+ organization Colors Caribbean issues a statement after a same-sex couple is attacked in Cayman. Radio Cayman's April Cummings has more.
The Colors Caribbean statement extends apologies and offers support to the same-sex couple that was assaulted last week.
Although the Cayman Islands, regrettably, lacks any formal legislation specifying which criminal acts would be considered hate crime, that is clearly what this incident should be observed as. And no one in our LGBTQIA+ community should ever have to be subjected to it.
Colors founder and President Billy Bryan wished both of the victims a fast recovery, inviting them to reach out to the organization should they require any additional assistance or resources.
Colors Caribbean has been working hard for years now on reviewing and revising legislation affecting our LGBTQIA+ community, alongside policymakers and other stakeholders, surrounding a number of SOGIESque issues related to bullying, discrimination, stalking, etc. And we will continue to do so at every given opportunity.
Ms. Bryan says progress has been made, but it is painfully evident there is still much work to be done. April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
Colors Cayman says it will be following up with the Premier, the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, and the Governor's Office this week to discuss what more government and political leaders can do to reduce discrimination and harm towards the community. And it's time to switch your plates. CIGTV's Simon Boxall has more.
The Department of Vehicle and Driver's Licensing, or DVDL, is urging motor vehicle owners with temporary license plates to switch them for permanent plates during the month of January. To facilitate switch-a-plate customers, the DVDL's Crew Road location will be open on Saturdays from the 15th to the 29th of January from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. All temporary plates will cease to be legal at the end of May. Failure to replace temporary plates is a criminal offense with a fine of up to $2,500 or up to 6 months in prison, or both.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. NATO and Russia have begun their first face-to-face talks in 2 years, designed to ease tension over Russian troop deployments on the Ukrainian border. Russia said it was not making ultimatums, but wanted security guarantees. NATO wants the withdrawal of Russian troops on the border with Ukraine. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson will come under pressure in Parliament later to state whether he broke his own COVID rules. So far, he's declined to say whether he attended a party at his Downing Street residence during a coronavirus lockdown. A bomb has exploded in the Somali capital Mogadishu. Rescue workers say at least 8 people were killed. The blast took place on a road by the entrance to a camp for the Somali Air Force. The Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab said it carried out the attack. More than 80 fact-checking organisations from around the world have accused the online video platform YouTube of being one of the major conduits of online disinformation and misinformation worldwide. They've called on the Google-owned platform to do more to tackle fake news. New research has found that women who breastfeed are less likely to develop heart disease or have a stroke than women who do not. Scientists in Austria say breastfeeding for 12 months or longer reduces the risk of getting these diseases. An opposition senator in Cameroon has been shot dead in the city of Bamenda, an area affected by a separatist rebellion. According to officials from the opposition Social Democratic Front, Henry Kemende was forced out of his car by unknown gunmen on Tuesday night. A Russian satirist and critic of President Putin has said he's safe in an unnamed European country after fleeing Russia. Viktor Shenderovich, who famously lampooned Putin in a puppet show. BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Thank you, Cayman blood donor community. You answered the call at a time most critical, the holiday season. You came, you gave, you saved, you gifted. The National Blood Bank welcomed over 60 pints. Your pint, your gift of value beyond calculation. Thank you, dear blood donor. Thank you, staff of the HSA National Blood Bank. Thank you, nurses, physicians, housekeeping, admin staff, EMTs who worked tirelessly throughout the holidays, saving lives using your pint, your gift of love to save lives. Thank you, Radio Cayman. Thank you, Health Minister Turner, for sounding the clarion call. A message from Rotary Central Community Service and the Cayman Blood Donor Service. Rotary serves to change lives.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year!
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Guess what? We're back. And we wish you a Happy New Year from the Flex family.
This week on the Flex, we will be having caring teachers. The word of the week is adulting.
I'm adulting. Don't make fun of my adulting. That's insulting. Spell it.
ADULTING. It is a noun that means the practice of behaving like a responsible adult, especially the accomplishment of mundane but necessary tasks.
And maybe some other adulting Flex family will pass through.
Hi! How are you? You can join us this Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m. right here on Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM. YouFlex, a program for all people by young people. YouFlex, more than talk.
When I look at where I'm coming from, I know I'm blessed, and I close my eyes and smile. Sometimes I feel.
The 8:10 a.m. Weather Report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we are more than an insurance company. We are family. To learn more about our first-in-class individual and group life, disability and accident solutions, please visit Pan American International Insurance Corporation at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Song Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304 and visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
Good morning, Cayman. Let's take a look at your weather, courtesy of our friends at Pan American Life Insurance. Present temperature 77 degrees Fahrenheit. It's nice and sunny on the outside. Feels like about 80. Winds are out of the east at 7 miles per hour. Relative humidity 78%. Last night's low dew point was at 70. Barometric pressure now at 30 and dropping. Light to moderate north to northeasterly winds and slight seas is expected across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours in response to the movement of a cold front over northern Cuba. South forecast today, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of early morning showers. Temperatures will rise to the mid-80s. Winds will be northeast at 10 to 15 knots and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Later tonight, partly cloudy skies, 20% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall to the low 70s. Winds will be north to northeasterly at 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. We're at a high tide. Low tide is coming up at 1:51 this afternoon. High at 6:40 this evening. For tomorrow, low tide will be at 1:16 a.m. High at 8:13 a.m. Low at 2:25 p.m. and high at 7:12 p.m. Sunset this evening at 6:05. Sunrise for tomorrow at 7:02. The outlook is for a decrease and backing of the winds towards the northwest, which is expected from Thursday afternoon. That's the latest weather right here at Radio Cayman.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we're more than just an insurance company, we're family. To learn more about our first-in-class group health and employee benefit solutions, please visit Pan American Life Insurance Company of the Cayman Islands at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304. You can also visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving your goals is a very rewarding feeling, but at times can feel very frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success.
When setting your goals, have a deadline. Procrastination is common in human nature. Setting a time to review the work helps to increase motivation because you know that you have to have it done by a certain time. This also ensures that you slow down to review progress. Consider rewards if things are going well. If things are not going as well as you would like, a deadline gives you a chance to pause and reflect on the current goal to see if there may be something getting in the way of being able to get it done.
Change your thinking and change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
All right, good morning, my friends. Let's take a look at your traffic report this morning time. Compliments our friends at Subway. Heading into Georgetown, of course, expect some slight delays as you make your way in. Looking down at the East-West Croydon Boulevard area, traffic is flowing smoothly. Similarly, looking down from the King Sports Center as you make your way onto the Linford Pearson. Got some movements until getting to the first roundabout where you'll experience some slow traffic. Expect some slight delays. Similar for those on Crew Road, looking down from Jose's gas station. Still got some westward bound traffic. Trying to turn onto Shedden Road. You'll experience some busy streets within the Georgetown area. Edward Street looking busy, similar with Shedden Road and Godfrey Nixon Way. Busy with westward bound traffic onto Eastern Avenue. Westerly Tibbetts got some traffic coming off of people coming out of the West Bay area. And looking down at West Bay Road from Ritz-Carlton, good flow of traffic in both directions. Of course, the traffic congestion will ease up as the morning progresses. Good for those of you taking your time and making it into Georgetown, observing the speed limits, taking your time. And of course, your traffic report brought to you by our good friends at Subway.
At Subway, we caramel a lot about our customers, so we decided to give you 2 treats in one with the new Caramel Apple Cookie. Enjoy cinnamon apples, caramel bits, and salted caramel crunch baked in, and topped with a drizzle of caramel-flavored icing. Gooey, crunchy, and yummy. Complete your Subway sandwich, pizza, or salad with the delicious Caramel Apple Cookie or any other cookie flavor and dessert, available for a limited time at all Subway locations. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Miller's Plumbing. They will get the job done for you on time, the first time. Call them at 949-4709 for a free estimate. Miller's Plumbing, a proud sponsor of Radio Cayman's 7 a.m. weather update.
Mr. Plumber, I've come to fix the sink.
Let me tell you something. I've been fishing our island since I was a boy, and it's getting harder and harder to get a good catch. Maybe it's because there are so many more people in Cayman than ever before. Maybe it's because of how the climate is changing. I don't know about that, but I do know that I want to be able to keep fishing and teach my children to fish one day as well. So it makes sense to me that we have certain areas and certain times of the year to fish for certain things. This year, a new rule was placed on fishing for grouper that says no one can fish for nass or grouper anywhere in Cayman from December 1st to April 30th while they're spawning. There is also no fishing allowed at all for any kinds of fish in the spawning zones, and no scuba diving there either. It feels unfair not to be allowed to fish where my dad taught me to fish, but I know that being patient now means we can keep fishing for many more generations. We're all in this together, right?
For more info, download the Cayman DOE app or visit doe.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I did ask Mr. McLean to call us back, and we do have him on the line now so that we can continue that conversation. And if I were a judge, and if Dr. Mark Field was a judge, then we could hear his judicial review case this morning right here.
Yes.
That's what you would call transparency, hearing it on radio.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. McLean, welcome back, sir.
Good morning again, OC, and thank you for that comment too. Now, Doc, here is where I'm arguing on this. I am questioning the reasonableness of this because the Constitution specifically says, and I'm sure Doc has it there, about non-discrimination, right? Under 16. It says, subject to subsection 3, 4, 5, and 6, government shall not treat any person in a discriminatory manner in respect of the rights under this part of the Constitution. This part meaning the Bill of Rights. Subsection 3 says, no law or decision of any public office official shall contravene this section if it has an objective and reasonable justification and is reasonably proportionate to its aim in the interest of defense, public safety, public order, public morality, or public health. What is the purpose or aim, objective, of giving me 3 months to enter my country? I want to know if that is reasonable, Doc. You are the lawyer, I'm not.
Well, first it says in the interest of public health. Now, whether giving you 3 months would be the interest of public health, and at this time, I don't think that would be reasonable, because as my colleague here has said, and my colleague radio judge has said that they have opened up the country now. They have opened up the country for everyone, freedom of movement in and out of the country. And so to impose a restriction on you for 3 months under the circumstances in which the country is open up now for everyone to come and to stay as long as they want and so forth, that would not be reasonable. In my estimation, that would not be reasonable.
And I should point out that the Constitution speaks of permanent residents. So it also includes all those who can prove that they're, we used to use that word about domicile.
Once they have the right to reside.
Once they have the right to reside here without immigration controls.
You are correct. And that's what my thoughts are. So it applies to all of us who on work permit and whatnot. And the Constitution separates those who are permanent residents from the others. And where that separation comes, i.e. the immigrants I'm talking about, those who travel here like tourists, whatever, visitors, it separates it and says a law can be made, thus the immigration law. To control those.
Yes.
You cannot control a resident who prove that he has quote-unquote status in its status in inverted commas, i.e. work permit, permanent resident, granted Caymanian status, which is across the board.
Yes.
Yeah. What we're basically saying is that at some juncture, in the early juncture, having that provision in place in terms of you having to apply, you get permission to travel for a 3-month period, and you have to renew it afterwards. That does not hold water any longer, because we have now opened up the travel portal so much more. The guidelines have been put in terms of if you're traveling to the Cayman Islands, if you're vaccinated, what protocols you have to go through. At one point in time, travel was limited to Caymanians only. That is not the case now. So the argument that was being used before for this 3-month period for you to seek permission to travel, we do not believe that
it could have been justified before.
Right, yes. But it is no longer justifiable when you consider all of the other relaxations that have taken place.
NOC and Doc, I appreciate. I don't have a problem submitting my record, but then that goes into my personal portal. They say it doesn't, but people can do what they want. My personal medical portal at the hospital, there's a possibility, but it may be remote, but be that as it may. What my concern is that when they issue that, I can understand them asking for me to submit it and them warning me, you have to keep up to date on any changes that the protocol, that the government may make in the protocol center of this country. But you cannot restrict me. You cannot restrict me to 3 months. It is unconstitutional. And you know what bothers me? Doc, is all these constitutional lawyers here, and nobody has challenged it, and I'm sure they have traveled before. They're Caymanians. We need, which judge it was in England, which Lord Jenkins or Jennings?
Lord Denning.
In World War II, he said even during World War, you cannot restrict people's movements, man.
Well, I think that people accepted it here because everyone basically wanted to do felt that they were doing their part to
keep the country safe
and everything else. Now, and like we said earlier, things have changed considerably. I think we're getting closer and closer to people accepting the fact that we're going to have to learn to live with COVID-19. What variant we will be living with is another question, because I don't think even the experts know that. But, people were at that point in time willing to go along with it. So just like you now, those persons who, when it comes time for them to renew that 3-month permission, that's when you're going to see some more, more kickback to that as well, because people are going to do the same thing that you're doing now, questioning whether or not that is reasonable at this juncture. It may have been reasonable before, but whether or not, based on what the government has done, what the government has said now. And when we say government, we're not talking necessarily about elected officials. We're talking about, policies and procedures that are in place. And when we get off the phone with you, I'm going to share with our audience the fact that the government has now, and public health has updated its quarantine process that came into effect with immediate effect, as well. And so we see changes again to relax the situation. And again,
you know what, OC, you know what bothers me, and Doc, you know what bothers me, is that if you do not submit this to this department, quote unquote, I don't know if that is constitutional, the right department. If you do not get that, they're leaving people in Caymanian in Miami. Now, what is unreasonable about that as well is that Cayman Airways is a public entity. It's authority. So they're overstepping their bounds there as well. If you have met all the protocols, now I can tell you this, OC, and 2 things before I leave. I am terrified of catching COVID. I do not want to catch it. So I'm going to follow the protocols. I'm trusting the government that they're using the latest science that they have available to them to put the restrictions on me, and I'm going to follow those. Despite when I came home on 2 occasions since the 20th of November, I had to do day 2, day 5, day 10. And I was told by the authorized institution that I went to that I couldn't get my test. And I said, the results of my test, I said, no, I do not trust Travel Cayman with it. I am giving you permission to share it with them. I want my test, because they were instructed to send it to them, and Travel Cayman would notify me if I'm positive. Well, I was in quarantine here because I was with my family and I for 16 days in September, and my son's bracelet went off 1,200 times and nobody came. Okay, so let's not talk about trust. Okay, and the other thing is, I am not renewing my certificate because it's against everything that every freedom the Constitution gives me as a citizen, as a resident. I am not going to renew it on the 25th of February.
Well, it's going to take a few months for Dr. McPhail and I to render our judgment and have a written judgment on this. So you may have to wait a little bit longer than that. You may have to renew it. Just a joke.
Yeah. So I'm prepared to follow the protocols as they change. The other day it changed before I went back to the States, and it said within 24 hours. I followed that. You know, I do not do the lateral test coming back in. I do the PCR because it's more robust, okay? And so don't tell me that I have followed the restrictions in accordance with the Constitution. Then you're restricting my right to enter my country.
Well,
the Constitution say you can't.
Hopefully, the government is listening.
Yes,
Hopefully,
yes.
people are listening, and they will now review this whole issue with the 3-month period. I want to thank you very much for that, Mr. McLean. We have to go to a commercial break now. When we return, I will share with you the update that was issued. This was issued on January the 11th. In relation to public health updating,
that was
isolation
yesterday.
and quarantine requirements. Please stay tuned for the record with Dr. Steve McFeel. We'll be back shortly.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
The Overseas Government Scholarship deadline for the 2022-2023 academic year is Monday, 31st January. To apply for an overseas government scholarship or learn more about the various scholarship programs before the deadline, please visit the recently upgraded scholarship application portal at www.moescholarships.gov.ky or email the Scholarship Secretariat Unit at scholarships@gov.ky.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have Dr. Steve McFeel in the studio with me. Our phone lines are open, but if you're going to call at this point, just expect a few minutes delay before we get to your call, because I want to share this public health update with you as far as isolation and quarantine requirements are concerned. So the Public Health Department yesterday issued a notice that they have revised isolation and quarantine requirements for residents and visitors with travel declaration who are not required to quarantine. So if you're a resident or a visitor with a travel declaration and you are not required to quarantine, there have been some changes. Now, that travel declaration, I would imagine, is the same thing that Mr. McLean was talking about, that 3-month, whether or not that is linked to the that 3-month approval period. The release goes on to say the procedural changes which take effect immediately, that means they're in effect now, are intended to minimize the impact on families and businesses of the recent increase in community cases of COVID-19 as the Omicron variant has become the dominant variant in the Cayman Islands. The updated guidelines are as follows, and I'm going to read them as slowly so that you really can digest exactly what is here. This one has to do with vaccinated positives. Fully vaccinated persons who test positive for COVID-19 must isolate for 10 days with a negative PCR test required on day 11 to exit isolation. I'm going to repeat that again. If you are a fully vaccinated person and you test positive for COVID-19, you must isolate for 10 days with a negative PCR test required on day 11 to exit isolation. If you're a vaccinated contact, vaccinated persons who are primary contacts of COVID-19 positive persons must conduct daily lateral flow testing for 10 days, but may continue usual activities. I'm going to read this again. Vaccinated persons who are primary contacts of COVID-19 positive persons. So if you're vaccinated, if you're deemed to be a primary contact of a person who has COVID-19, you must conduct daily lateral flow testing for 10 days, but you may continue your usual activities. So you have to do your lateral flow test. For unvaccinated positives, unvaccinated or partially vaccinated persons who test positive for COVID-19 must isolate for 14 days with a negative PCR test required on day 15 to exit isolation. I'm going to repeat that again. Unvaccinated or partially vaccinated persons who test positive for COVID-19 must isolate for 14 days with a negative PCR test required on day 15 in order for you to exit isolation. For unvaccinated contacts, and there are many persons out there who are unvaccinated for various reasons, and we won't get into those this morning. But if you are unvaccinated persons in the household of a positive must quarantine for 14 days. I received a call this morning from someone who find themselves in that position. Unvaccinated, and they're in a household of a positive. So you are therefore required to quarantine for 14 days. And then we have the quote that says, as the pandemic continues, public health will adapt its practices and policies to best suit the needs of the community. We ask that the public remain vigilant and in tune with government communication channels so they are following the most current guidance at any given time. And that is a quote from the interim chief medical officer, Dr. Attilia Newton. The chief medical officer acting also points out we rely on individuals to report any positive lateral flow tests to public health and on the community and their employers to support them at this time. She also reminds the public that individuals who test positive through certified lateral flow tests or a home kit must isolate and take a PCR test with the Health Services Authority at the next available testing clinic. Testing clinics for these persons are held daily from 1 to 2 p.m. at the South Sound Community Center. That's only for 1 hour. Whether or not that is going to be sufficient, if persons really adhere to their requirements is another question. Also emphasizing that individuals with travel declarations who test positive while in the Cayman Islands must follow the process outlined above. Health officials note that these individuals and their primary contacts must receive a negative PCR exit test from the Public Health Department before they can be permitted aboard a commercial flight departing the Cayman Islands. Those who are positive would like to leave the country and are able to secure a private flight should apply to Travel Cayman for special permission by emailing travelinfo@gov.ky. So there it is, laid out for you. Now, I'm going to add on to the one with unvaccinated persons, and they're required, if they're unvaccinated, they're a contact of a person who has been vaccinated. That contact's probably living in their household. They are required to quarantine for 14 days. Now, the question also is, those persons who are required to isolate, they are being tagged, and whether or not that is the one of the requirements that is in place, whether or not that is being practiced and that policy is being administered throughout, because this person was questioning whether or not they should be tagged as well. The person that I spoke to also was urging public health to please ensure that those persons who are coming out to visit, when there is an identified positive in a household and they're there to deal with the contacts, to know precisely what the procedures are. In this particular case, there seemed to be a situation where there's a house, one structure, and there's another structure attached to that, a duplex. There may be immediate access from one to the other, and they're all being considered to be one household, and as a result, those persons in that duplex are being required to quarantine, if they're unvaccinated, to quarantine for 14 days as well. That is being questioned by individuals. Also, and it appears as if when the individual who, from the government authority, was challenged and had been advised that they would be seeking legal advice on that, it appears now as if someone will revisit that household to look at those two structures, to look at the access from one to the other, to determine whether or not the requirement for all to isolate will be necessary. Paul, what we should do is take the commercial break so we can talk to that individual a little bit longer. Otherwise, we're going to have to break in about 2 minutes. You want to do that? And let the caller know that we're going to put them on hold so that we can spend more time talking with them. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. No, can't stop me when I taste the feel. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
It's time to update your information. If you've recently changed your mailing address, phone number, or email address, please let your Water Authority customer service team know. Visit our website www.waterauthority.ky to download and fill out our customer information update form, or contact our customer service team at info@waterauthority.ky or call 949-2837.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have 3 callers on hold, so let's go to the phone lines. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. Kenneth Bryan here.
Good morning. Good morning, Minister. Good morning.
Minister.
Fine. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too. And Dr. McPhail, Happy New Year to you too, sir.
Good morning, Honorable Minister. Happy New Year to you. I haven't seen you since last year, which was a couple of weeks. Which was just a couple of weeks ago. Yes.
Yeah. I'm actually back on the island. I was away in the UK and I got back on Friday. So
okay.
I'm just calling in to steal a little bit of your show time. Just
sure.
To, let my constituents in the country know that I'm back home. Unfortunately, I'm in quarantine. Due to the fact that my youngest is unvaccinated.
Okay.
So, the protocols are 14 days if you're traveling with somebody who's unvaccinated. So we're all safe and happy. We're all negative, but we just have to do our jail time as you've been hearing about the chaos of quarantining. But it's for our best safety.
Yep. Oh, definitely.
I'm so glad you guys are talking today about the protocols because, we are merging back into now a new assessment of Omicron and how is it affecting countries as well as us and the world. Because obviously the first time we heard of Omicron, it was quite scary. Didn't know what the results were going to be, but we're getting a clearer picture now. Not an absolute one, but a better one. And as one of the things that we as a government are doing is to constantly assess the situation in respect to whatever protocols and safety measures we have in place to make sure it's a good balance with the ability for the economy to effectively move and society and our human behavior to be functioning appropriately. Because obviously the more restrictions you have, the less it is for people to move around, families to be able to do what they have to do, kids to go to school, and nobody in isolation is not good for your health mentally. So I know that I don't want to burst any bubbles, but I know the Premier will be making some announcements soon because we have to be good at assessing the current circumstances and easing and tightening wherever it's appropriate with the current environment. But I think that one of the key successes that we're going to be able to do or should have to be able to do is the best balance because the economy is so important. It allows opportunities for jobs, which jobs allow people to have food on their table and provide for their people and their families. And then it takes off a burden off of the state, which takes off the pressure of us potentially trying to tax the people. So there's a cycle here, and every day that passes, if we don't get that balance right, could be the difference of continued support that we have to give to the public. Because ultimately, we want to get to a place eventually where people are working, the tourism industry particularly can be booming again, and many of these restrictions that we're dealing with in respect to COVID is restrictive for people to want to continue to book the Cayman Islands. And I know that may sound all scary because the world is still going through COVID. But the good news, I believe, in my perspective, is that the world is starting to understand better, along with COVID and booster shots and safety protocols, that we can learn to live with this even more and more and more. Because I believe we're coming down the hill now, in my humble opinion. I think the year 2022 is that year we will start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I really like to hear the feedback of the public in respect to, this is the main point of my call, is do you think it's time for us to start loosening some of these measures? Or is the general attitude in the public still one of major fear? Now, don't get me wrong, there is still a level of risk, and there will always be as long as we are dealing with COVID. But the risks are higher at some points. When we first knew about this with no vaccines, didn't know how to protect ourselves, the risk was through the roof. Today, it's a little bit different. We have options of vaccines. We know our safety protocols, our PPE, limited and gatherings, all of these different types of things. But all of those things becomes a sacrifice on our personal freedoms and our mental health and working opportunities and business opportunities and the like. Do you think that we got that balance right? Or do you think it needs to stay where it is and with a super safety element, even if Omicron is not as harmful as we think? Or do you think it's time for us to start loosening it? Because why I ask the question is, with my experience with the UK, it's totally different over there. A lot looser than it is here. And believe it or not, they've been really, really good with their booster program, almost up to 60%, I think, for a country that has hundreds of millions of people. And we're going to start making an effort, at least particularly me, on strong, encouraging people to do their boosters, because keeping your immune system high is what will help us protect ourselves in respect to lack of people getting in the hospital, lack of people getting sick. So we're going to focus a little bit more on that. And I know there's more announcements from the health minister and the premier coming. So I'll leave that up to them. But overall, what is the common attitude in the public? We've passed that Christmas period, the New Year's period, where all the high gatherings and partying and everything else. Right now, everybody's broke in the month of January. Most people are just staying home because they don't have the money to spend. Do you think we're safe enough to start loosening things a little bit for our own mental health, for our kids, and for the economic freedoms? So that's what I want to know. And I'd like your guys' opinion as well, because you guys are filters of the community's thought process. So maybe if you answer that, and then I'll just hang up and hear what the rest of the world in Cayman has to think. Is that okay?
Certainly. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Minister, for that as well. And we certainly will do that. And that has also been articulated by some of our listeners. One person has written somewhere along the lines of what Minister Bryan has said there, and I'll share that during the course of the show as well. We still have 2 callers on hold. Let's see if we can grab those 2 callers before we go to our headline news at 9 o'clock. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor, and good morning, Mr. Maxfield.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
To the 2 of you, I'm great. This is Carrie Chavez. I'm in Nebraska. Of course, you all know that.
Yes.
And the sentiment up here is that the Brackers want everyone coming here to be, if not vaccinated, to be tested before they arrive, because it was a vaccinated person who brought Omicron here and now has it spreading like wildfire. So they think that there should be some sort of a booth at the airport for travelers coming to the Sister Islands to have the flow test done prior to getting on the plane. Test their temperatures like you do when you go into the hospital. That's what they're expecting, because a lady in this country died the other day, yesterday, because she caught COVID from quite possibly the hospital. I don't want to say that's where it was, but the possibility is there that it is the hospital, because she's only to the hospital in her home for dialysis. And because she had COVID, she couldn't do dialysis, and it killed her. So that's the issue we have up here. We need to know that people coming to the BRAC are all tested. Test them at the airport. Set a booth up for the inter-island travelers. Check their temperatures. Test them right there with the flow test, and see that they're not contaminated coming on the flight. And you know, people have come up on the flight over the holidays and caught it on the flight. They can tell you there were people on that flight coughing, sneezing, and they didn't contracted COVID after they arrived.
But caller, earlier this week, I did get a call from someone in the BRAC complaining about the non-use of masks in the BRAC, and they in some places, and they were complaining about the fact that, you know, people were running around and not wearing masks
in the stores and supermarkets. So
that's not true. There's a handful of people up here that don't want to wear a mask, and they're all Jamaicans. I can afford to tell you that, because I'm on the road daily, and I've gone into the grocery stores and I've asked them, listen, put your mask on. They don't have a mask. They're not wearing one. And they shouldn't be allowed into the stores if they don't have a mask on. That I agree with. Or in any business whatsoever. If you're not masked, the signs are on the store doors saying you must wear a mask. And if you walk in without one, they should escort you back out.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
And I would say everyone is masking up. There's sanitizers at the entrance to all the businesses to sanitize your hands and wear your mask. I mean, I have about 12 in my car and several bottles of sanitizer in my car, so I am sanitizing constantly all day long and wearing my mask. So, I mean, that I can't see. It may be a few people up here that aren't complying, but they need to comply.
Okay.
And I agree with that person that called you. It's not in any mass amount of people.
Got you.
Majority are masked and sanitizing themselves.
That's good to know.
Yeah. I just think that the community spread up here happened in one location, and people weren't honest and truthful about it. And then kids were allowed to go into classrooms that were within the realm of the individuals who were positive, and they had contracted it, and then they went and did their exams and then contaminated other children in the classroom during exams that were not positive. And that is something that is unfair to them. And the classrooms also need to have somebody, or the schools need to have somebody testing the kids as they come in. You know, test your temperatures if nothing else. Check that, because that's one of the things of all the variants is a high temperature. Yeah. So, anyways,
thank you.
I just wanted to say that. And Minister Brian, I just want to say to you that if you want to hear from your people, you need to also remember the people up here in Kimmerak are also your constituents. And we are not happy that the airlines are allowing vaccinated individuals on the plane that have not been tested prior to flight. So set up booths up at the airport and start testing people to get on the plane. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Paul, I think we have enough time to grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning. How art thou?
I am well. Happy New Year to one and all. And a big happy birthday to Dr. Macfield.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you, too.
Many more. You are indeed one of our national treasures, and we all look forward to having discussions with you every day that the For the Record is on, and and we want that to continue for many years.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that.
So happy New Year to you, sir, and to all of the For the Record listeners. And again, I say, I'm not the agent for the program.
We can appoint you.
Yeah,
we can appoint you.
Yes, we can appoint you. Yes.
Up there, I don't know where he is. He don't check in. Okay. But happy birthday, Dr. Macfield.
Thank you very much again, man.
Thank you. Have a great day, my dear.
Thank you.
Enjoy. Okay, so one of our listeners, have enough time for this too. One of our listeners has written in and said, now that community spread has been well established, we must reduce the mental burden on our children. We must reduce and eventually completely remove quarantine for young children traveling with vaccinated adults. And we heard Minister Brian just say that he's quarantining now because his youngest daughter is,
positive.
Unvaccinated.
Unvaccinated.
Yes. The person goes on to say, we can have them perform daily lateral flow rapid tests instead, like the existing school policy. I was thinking the same thing too. That you have young children, and you have rules for those who are here on island, but someone traveling in who is unvaccinated, and the rest of the family vaccinated, they have to isolate. Why shouldn't that child be treated equally to the child who is in a household, and as long as they do those lateral flow tests every day, they can attend school. So that's a good point as well. So I'm going to repeat that again. We can have them perform daily lateral flow rapid tests instead, like the existing school policy. It is time to put our children's mental health front and center. And they go on to say after that, after hearing Minister Brian, I agree with Minister Brian, we must move to stage 5 of the border reopening immediately as well. And I want to thank that listener for sharing that with us as well. Folks, top of the hour headline news. When we return, the conversation with Dr. Steve Macfield will continue. So please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
For
Follow Radio K-Man on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio K-Man.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio K-Man's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The country sees its first 2 COVID-19 related deaths of the year, with 2 reported Tuesday evening. That brings the total number since the start of the pandemic to 14. In addition, 440 new cases of the virus were reported on Tuesday, 17 of those in the sister islands. In the UK, Prime Minister Boris Johnson will face MPs following fresh revelations of drinks at a party at number 10 Downing Street during the first lockdown. He will be grilled about the event by the Labour leader. Conservative and opposition politicians are calling on him to explain whether he attended the party in the garden in May 2020. Witnesses say both the Prime Minister and his wife were among about 30 people there, but he has declined to comment or deny this. Number 10 says it's waiting for the results of an inquiry. On Tuesday, another 379 COVID-19 deaths were recorded in the United Kingdom, as well as 120,821 new cases of the virus. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
Follow Radio K-Man on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio K-Man app or log on to our website, radiokman.gov.ky.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
guess what? We're back. And we wish you a Happy New Year from the Flex family.
This week on the Flex, we will be having caring teachers. The word of the week is adulting.
I'm adulting. Don't make fun of my adulting. That's insulting. Spell it.
ADULTING. It is a noun that means the practice of behaving like a responsible adult, especially the accomplishment of mundane but necessary tasks.
And maybe some other adulting Flex family will pass through.
Hi! How are you? You can join us this Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m. right here on Radio K-Man, 89.9 FM. U-Flex, a program for all people, by young people. U-Flex, more than talk.
When I look at where I'm coming from, I know I'm blessed, and I close my eyes and smile. Sometimes I feel...
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio K-Man.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Records. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning none other than Dr. Steve McField. We do have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, God bless. I know, Ms. O.C., you called last year when I called in, right? And I made a request or inquest, right? Who would die from this plague, right? Post-mortem or autopsy, right? You recall, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then the press conference, you sum it up. Lots of picture. And no, Ms. O.C., give me 1 minute now.
Sure,
right?
Sure.
Right, 60 seconds, hit the beat now. It's up to the individual to be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of yourself. You won't be careless, reckless, or irresponsible. Not the problem. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Cleanliness and hygiene, godliness. You see where I'm from? Yeah. So, it's up to the individual, I think, to know themselves, the norm, or won't be abnormal. Let's go see how good day.
Thank you, Rambo. You do the same as well. And please stay safe also. So, Doc, I shared that release, and there's more to it that gives some explanation and definition, explains the some terminology that has been used, like the definition of
the primary contact.
Primary contact.
Yes. Well. The health authority has also, in their release, described what a primary contact is. And it states, a primary contact is a person who has had the following interactions with a COVID-positive person from 2 days before and up to 14 days after the case's positive results. Face-to-face contact within 6 feet of each other for 15 minutes or more in a single day. And 2, direct contact, for example, kissing, hugging, shaking hands. and 3, living in the same household. So those are the 3 examples of primary contact. Face-to-face contact within 6 feet of each other for 15 minutes or more in a single day. Number 2, direct contact, for example, kissing, hugging, shaking hands. And number 3, living in the same household. Those are the definitions of primary contact according to the Public Health Department.
Okay. I'm going to share another WhatsApp message that we received. This person says that they would they ask the questions, would you not agree or classify the current restrictions with respect to the vaxxed and the unvaxxed in place not only in the Cayman Islands, but in many different countries around the world, more particularly in Australia, where freedom of movement has been completely taken away, and in the U.S., where the unvaxxed are being required to now pay for medical care related to the COVID illness because of being unvaxxed as discriminatory. So wouldn't we consider those policies as being discriminatory? Goes on to say, all of that said, has the thought ever entered the minds of the government that it is the vaccinated that have freedom of movement? So common sense will tell you that they are the ones that are fully responsible for the spread. I'm going to disagree with that, because it's not only the vaccinated that have freedom of movement in Cayman. Everyone has freedom of movement. It is when you become infected, or when you are a primary contact, based on what you shared with us there, Dr. Macfield, that then that freedom may be restricted. But I've heard this argument before, talking about the fact that it is the vaccinated persons who have freedom of movement, so they're the ones that are, possibly spreading it. I think that's a false narrative to a certain extent. There goes on to say, sort of common sense will tell you that they are the ones that are fully responsible for the spread. How is it fair that the people that have taken a vaccine that is clearly not working, because the vax are still getting sick, get to travel and have freedom of movement and enter restaurants and stores overseas, but the unvaxxed cannot? That seems to make a simple form of discrimination. What they're saying, they can't be applied universally, and they pointed out that they've used examples of some countries like Australia and stuff like that. But I'm not aware of too many countries where, if you're unvaccinated, that you're not allowed to move around.
No,
you may be restricted. So there may be some areas that you may be restricted from entering, and you have to show evidence that you have been vaccinated. And the other thing is, and it appears as if some people still it hasn't sunk in yet, the fact and the purpose of the vaccination. It is not to prevent you from getting the virus.
It is prevent you from having complications and getting ill when you seriously ill and having to be isolated or having to take treatment in a hospital.
Exactly.
And I suppose that some restrictions that could be imposed on unvaccinated people would be going, for instance, to an old folks' home, visiting a hospital, visiting the sick. I noticed that in some countries that you can't visit even. You can't even visit them if they have COVID. They're completely isolated.
Okay, this one is interesting. This person says, I'm back in Cayman on the 15th, And then it's unfortunately 14 days quarantine because a healthy baby requires the parents to also quarantine. But a COVID positive baby is fine. The parents can just do a lateral flow test. It boggles the mind. Yeah, that is mind boggling. And we need the scientific experts to explain that one. It also says, Happy New Year to you and Mr. Mark Field and the entire team. They're saying that they received this from a colleague, and if this is how it still works after yesterday's changes, then I agree that it is very inconsistent. Your thoughts? Yeah, extremely inconsistent. And if anyone from the medical fraternity out there, public health, or anyone who's listening to this, can you either call in or help us out here with this one? And the situation is, person is returning on the 15th. Unfortunately, they have to quarantine for 14 days because a healthy baby requires the parents to also quarantine. But a COVID positive baby is fine. The parents can just do a lateral flow test. Mind-boggling. Explain to us why as well. We have a caller, you said, Paul. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, OC. Good morning, Dr. McField.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
And also congratulations to you on your appointment to that important board. I'm sure you're going to do a good job.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
OC, you earlier in the show, you mentioned that you made a comment that we're going to have to learn to possibly live with this virus, which is true. But you know how easily we let our guards down. I'm not hearing any more PSAs about trying to inculcate into people's heads the importance of getting vaccinated. Also, just the news just came on, and of course, the statistics mentioned 14 people that have died COVID related. But the people who are, I got vaccinated and I wear my mask because I value your life and I value your rights. The question could be turned on its head for those who are not wanting to get vaccinated, the anti-vaxxers. The question could be asked, don't you think I have rights? Don't you think that Orrett Connor and Dr. McField has rights? We have rights against you infecting me too. And I have a right to at least pester you about the importance of getting vaccinated. It is the only known mitigating factor that we have right now against the onslaught of this virus that has killed millions of people. And when you get vaccinated, it is a proven fact that if you get the virus, which is proven that you can do it, that you can have a breakthrough case, it is very mild. But for the life of me, it is showing, this virus is showing the powerlessness of governments, because government cannot enforce and bound people into doing the right thing. It takes a bit of partnership for that white paper from England about peace and prosperity. This is it right now. It's going to take a bit of partnership for prosperity and life between the general masses, which is the general population, accepting the fact that they have a inalienable right to protect my life and protect your life by getting vaccinated, by following the protocols, because as you said earlier, and it is a given fact, we're going to have to live with this virus as a next flu that is going to be upon us forever.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I think the government we need to probably do some more. Keep the PSAs going. I don't hear them much anymore, but certainly for those people who are not wanting to get vaccinated, my clarion call to them this morning through this radio and through your prestigious call-in show is: don't you think that I have a right against getting sick, and you giving it to me by not being vaccinated?
Yeah. Well, call in relation to the PSAs and stuff, and I would have thought that they would have been authorities would have been knocking down the doors of the studio this morning to be on here to explain these new procedures and that have been implemented with immediate effect.
Right. Okay. Yes.
But they,
yes. Yes. I agree. It's just like we're getting tired now, and this is not the time to get tired, because the battle is far from being won, and really, it is proven to be the impossible task for any government, any governor in the U.S. or any president who tries to tell people constantly to do the right thing. Their popularity in the polls, which people watch because they watch it because it's an indicator of whether they're going to get reelected, sinks to the bottom, because nobody really wants to hear about doing the right thing anymore. Yeah. It's my way, and I will do it as I want, and I can listen to all these fringe television stations that gives out all kind of nonsense about the ivermectin and different things that you can take, and that you have a choice, and basically you are putting my life at risk. And I have gone the extra mile by getting vaccinated, by adhering to protocols, as unpopular and as unsavory as they may be. I don't like walking around with a mask on around town, but I do it because I'm thinking that, that's my small little effort to protect you as the person out on the street from getting a virus that is known to kill people.
Yep.
I mean, it is a new era we're living in. We're seeing it in this virus with choices. I want my choice. I want my this is my right, and I can do it because I think it's infringing on the Constitution. We're seeing it on the streets where the driving is at an appalling state. People no longer slow us down. If they see you pulling out of a side road, in the olden days, people say, okay, well, I got to slow down to give him a chance to get in the lane. No, if you pull out from a side road now and a car is coming down, he's going to hit you in the back.
Yeah, or he's going to lean on the horn.
Yes. We are reaching a stage where it is really cannibalism out there.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's sad, but I thought I'd call in to once again a broken record, but we need to get people vaccinated.
Yeah. Thank you.
You need to vaccinate yourself.
Yep.
For your safety, for your family's safety, and for my safety.
Okay. Caller, thank you very much for that. We have to go to a commercial break. We do have a caller on hold as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, with Dr. Steve Macfield will continue shortly.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
West Bay, home to Barkas National Park, the touristy flair, a family community, a political powerhouse. From sports enthusiasts to car aficionados, affection for silver thatch rope. No matter how far you may venture, West Bay will always be where the heart is. Home will always be in West Bay. West Bay Pharmacy, caring for your home and your family. West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient, quality care is just around the corner.
Excuse me, I noticed you from afar.
Really? Me?
Well, not you. The KFC sandwich you're eating.
Oh, Zinger.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be funny.
No, it's called the Zinger Sandwich. Crunchy, juicy, 100% chicken breast, crisp lettuce, sweet mayo on a seeded bun with a little zing. KFC's chicken is not factory breaded, frozen and refried like the Burger Boys. Customize your KFC Zinger and dip it in barbecue sauce.
Wow, now I'm starting to notice you too.
KFC, it's finger-licking good.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have a caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Hello, good morning, O.C.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good. Morning to Dr. McFeely.
Good morning, sir. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you and happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
I just want to say what the previous caller said contradicted what Mr. O.C. said. Because he said that we should get vaccinated to protect each other and from getting sick and protect the elders and go into elderly homes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But prior to that, Mr. O.C. said that the vaccine is not to prevent the spread. It's to prevent you from getting severe illness, which is a fair statement.
Mm-hmm.
But the two statements contradict themselves completely. Because if the vaccine is not to prevent you from getting it, then why encourage everyone to go get it to protect each other? If that's not the purpose for it. My understanding was that a vaccine, the purpose of vaccine is to prevent the spread. In traditional vaccines, that has been the instance. But in this sense,
I think traditional vaccines are really to protect the individual. That's why it's put in your body to protect the individual.
Well, protecting the individual wouldn't stop the spread, now would it?
That's a valid point.
That's a valid point. Yes,
valid. Yeah.
And the whole purpose of the vaccine is to get rid of the pandemic, and the only way to get rid of the pandemic would be to stop the spread, logically speaking. And if it's not stopping the spread, then what's the point of me taking it to protect my family? Because they can still get it if I'm vaccinated. So it's prevent me from getting severely ill, which is fair. I understand that, and that's a fair statement to say that it may prevent you from getting severe illness. However, it does not stop the spread, because right now our vaccinated community is at 80% or more by now, and we have 600 odd cases already. Only God knows how many people are positive. So obviously, the majority of them would be vaccinated people, because the majority of the population is already vaccinated. So how can someone taking a vaccine protect their family or protect anyone if it doesn't stop the spread? Those two statements contradict themselves completely. And I think, I'm sure you could agree with me on that.
Oh, yes. We agree with you on that.
And I think sometimes those in the medical community have to sort of try to put a spin to explain that.
Yeah, so I just wanted to put that out there, because it's been a very nagging thing to hear people saying, go out and get vaccines to protect each other, to protect your elders, protect the old people. But you cannot protect them from getting the vaccine. You'll still get people sick. I have family members right now that are fully vaccinated, boosted, and they're at home with COVID and they have severe symptoms. It's a fact. Severe symptoms.
It seems to me, caller, that one of the primary reasons for the vaccination is prevent the overriding of the health systems, the health service systems that has to deal with the matter. I think that is one of the reasons for the vaccine, so that it doesn't overcome the health services systems that has to deal with it. But as far as preventing the disease, there is no evidence to that at all, and you have pointed that out really. And this is why some of the intellectuals have this conversation all the time, and there's this contradiction between the intellectuals and the scientists.
Well, if you pay attention to the news, you will see that the health systems around the world are already stretched, and this is over a year after the vaccine being introduced.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the U.S. is having 100,000 cases per day. This is the highest transmission it has been since the pandemic started.
Mm-hmm.
And we are now in full vaccine swing, and it's now the virus is spreading more than ever.
Yep.
So how is that making logical sense to anyone? It's like an elephant in the room that nobody wants to see. I don't understand it.
And still a lot they don't understand about the virus itself.
Yes.
Learning as we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree with that, and I agree about the whole thing with the symptoms being severe. But I feel like the unvaccinated people are being discriminated against for not taking a vaccine. We can't travel. We can't in New York in certain places you can't even enter most buildings and restaurants and stores unless you're vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the point if the vaccine doesn't stop the spread? Then what's the point?
Yes, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got you.
Yes.
I want to thank you. Thank you very much for that. We're going to try to grab another caller before we go to the next commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Dr. Steve.
Good morning, sir. Mr. Elvis, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. Rough and regular.
Yes, R&R.
Yeah, I'm the one that belling the cat, so it gets all the scratches, all claws.
yes.
Dr. Steve, I'm going to take this short now. I am talking about the unvaxxed doing this, and the vaccinated, they're the ones that's trying to save the world and all kind of thing. But I got to ask something now. And I'm asking this again, because this got me in trouble, because I got too frustrated. The lady, because this is not the first one that done this, The lady that was positive with her papers coming from Jamaica, what is they going to charge that woman for? That's all I want to find out. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, caller. Time for another one then. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, I'll see you, Dr. Steve.
Good morning.
Just a quick statement.
Sure.
Someone just sent me something on my phone from the governor in Florida. He says a recession is when your neighbor loses your job. A depression is when I lose mine. He said recovery is when Dr. Foster loses his. You get what's going on, right? They all know it. But that's what it is. That's a pandemic. This is a big pandemic, not a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I just want to share that because it's kind of funny. All right?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Still enough time to take another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir. How are you? Sir.
Good morning and pleasant Happy New Year to both of you.
Good morning. Happy New Year to you, too.
Okay. There's a couple of things. I don't know how much time I really have, but if you talk about the virus, my understanding is while it mightn't prevent you from getting the virus, it sure helps in your physical condition from not getting too sick.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand that it was going to be something that you didn't get the virus. So the argument is about people are still getting it. Yes. United States and London and other countries. Why? Because you have so many people hell-bent, hell or high tide, they are not going to take the vaccine. Okay? And if you check the records, the statistics say most of those people that are getting sick and are dying are people that do not have any type of vaccination at all. So I don't see how it's going to be something that we can be so anti-vaccine, whereas coming up to me, I got my vaccination, but the first thing I asked, whether it's friend or foe, how's the vaccine going? Do you have your vaccine? If they said yes or whatever. If they said, boy, I said, okay, see you later, boy. I'm really backing off. That's how I'm going to do it. It sounds a little bit drastic, but you can have people breathing up in your face because they don't want it, and you're trying to protect yourself. You have all rights to protect yourself. Another thing is, when you're talking about I heard the gentleman talking about the traffic. What's going on in this island that you have all of these people, like he said, coming like Harrier jets, round bends, round corners. Where I live, if it's any speed signs, it's very few and far apart. Why are the traffic police not coming in the outer areas and monitoring some of the speeders that are going in here? Okay? So that's my little piece, gentlemen. Have a pleasant day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller, for that. We're going to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned for the record with Dr. Steve McField. We'll continue after this short commercial break.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
With Logic, you get more things you do want, like faster fiber internet, more TV, entertainment, and better customer service. And you get less of the things you don't want, like waiting, boredom, and disappointment. More of the good, less of the bad. It just makes sense. Or should I say, it's logical. See what I did there? Call us or go to logic.ky to find out how you could be getting way more of what's good.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve McField. I'm going to read one more about COVID-19 and then want to switch gears, Doc, because we know that the ceremonial opening of the Grand Court takes place today here in the Cayman Islands. Sometime last week, I believe it was, took place in Jamaica, or was it earlier this week? I'll give the exact date. But we know that the Chief Justice over there, Justice Brian Sykes, made a suggestion when it comes to trial by jury. And I want to get your input on that as well. So this person says, the Cayman Islands have always been looked at as a first world country until COVID-19 pandemic. The entire world has moved on to live with COVID. Over the past few months, myself and many colleagues and acquaintances have traveled to Europe and the US, and people are going about their business, wearing a mask preferred or not wearing a mask if preferred. Stressing about who has on a mask or who doesn't shouldn't be an issue if the concerns of COVID are wearing, if those concerned with COVID are wearing theirs. All of this confusion and distress and scare tactics, the community has become overbearing and of the community has become overbearing and tiring as well. So that is shared with that. We're going to grab a call before we go to the next topic on trial by jury. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, I'm on the air.
Yes, you are. Good morning.
Good morning to everyone. Yes, I'm on another person that would like to know what happened about the woman that was positive in Jamaica, that knowing positive and came on the plane to Grand Cayman. I would another one like to know what happened about that case.
Okay, yeah, well,
we don't know.
We don't know at this point in time. We see where the governor has just announced the appointment of the director of public prosecutions, a new appointment to that, permanent appointment to that post, at least for a 3-year contract, I believe. So we'll wait and see what happens now within the office of the DPP as well. So
that was a cut and dry case, knowing they were positive and still got on the plane, and that was really a bad situation.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I mean, we're seeing judgments still coming out of the courts and everything else. I know that in other jurisdictions, for instance, in Jamaica, what we're going to be talking about now has to do with the fact that it has been very difficult to impanel jurors when it comes to trials. Of course, I don't believe that in our instance here with that particular case, whether or not it wouldn't be a jury trial, but it'll be interesting to see what is happening. And as soon as we know something about it, we'll let you know as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day. Please stay safe as well. So, Doc, Chief Justice Brian Sykes in Jamaica says, is quoted as saying, the time has come now to do away with jury trials because the truth is there is nothing to suggest that jury trials are an inherent better quality of justice than bench trials. That's a strong statement, isn't it?
That's a very strong statement. That's the first time I heard a judge say that before. Usually those kind of statement comes from people outside of the judiciary, not within the judiciary. But over there in Jamaica, they're having some real problems already this year. This year is how old? 12 days old?
12 days, yeah.
And they already have over near 30-something murders already. So it seems to me that with all the gangs and the murders and stuff like that, and so many people that has breached the law and a part of the criminals, the part of the culture of criminality, it's so sometimes unfortunate that they cannot be able to find a partial juror to try people, because I think over there a lot of people do not want to be on a jury trial because of the implications of their findings, and other people don't want to be on jury trials because of their connections with the underworld and their connections in the community, and so they are in a really precarious position. Because just let's face it, Orrett, culture is a primary shaping factor of behavior, and their culture, the whole system, the whole court system, culture is a system that you cannot depend upon to get the kind of justice that you want, because it's so easily it can easily be bought, it can easily be intimidated, you can easily be killed. You can easily be isolated and so forth. And so people are scared to be jurors in those circumstances. But to say that you should do away with jurors and that is
the quality.
The quality is stretching the situation a bit. What some countries have advocated for is to have professional jurors, a panel of jurors that move from one case to the other. Similar to what our government is talking about now, the
appeals
tribunals. One tribunal for all the different departments of the civil department of government. That seems to me to be the best way to go, and I think that could be extended to the jury system, that you should have a panel of jurors who are professional jurors, and they could go from one court to the next, instead of every time the court meets, every case you have a different set of jurors, and you have to go and you don't know who is going to be jurors and the qualification, because especially in Cayman, the jury pool is not that great. It's not that great. You only have we get people from the jurors list. And a lot of people here also do not want to serve on juries, either because of their jobs, either because they do not want to serve, because they do not want to get involved in the matters before the courts. But to advocate that they should do away with the jury system, that is a cardinal tenet in the criminal system. that is thousands of years old.
Yeah.
And for him to say that in we understand why he's saying it.
Yes.
But if coming from the Chief Justice, I didn't expect it to come from a Chief Justice.
Interesting. Okay, going back to COVID for a minute here again, and we do have 2 callers, and I'm going to take those callers as soon as I share this. The writer says the emerging variants are determined, talking about COVID-19 now, the emerging variants are determined by those unvaccinated. The virus hosts most favorably in those unvaccinated. Vaccinated persons ward off the effects of the virus more so than those unvaxxed. This is indisputable. Persons with comorbidities, vaxxed or unvaxxed, remain most vulnerable. Initially, the vaccine did protect against contracting the virus. Several variants later, vaxxed persons are now victims of breakthrough, now contracting the virus. The vaccines have prevented our central hospital from collapsing. The majority of hospital admissions, the majority of deaths are those who are unvaxxed, full stop. This virus is unavailing its effects and resistance. Scientists are dealing with emerging revelations as the days go, which is what I said as well. But I want to thank that caller for that part about the variants, and I think that this is one point that should not be ignored. The majority of hospital admissions, the majority of deaths are those who are unvaccinated as well. Yeah. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Colin and Mr. Marfield.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
Thanks,
Happy
same to
New
you.
Year to you too.
I just want to speak on. I ain't got too much to say about it, but I know of a couple of people that had this injection, and they still wind up getting the corona, put them in quarantine, and they were in quarantine for about 6-7 days. They used some stuff right here in the Cayman Islands. They went back 4 days after they took this stuff, this treatment, and their test result was negative. They went back about 6-7 days after, had the test result again, negative. And it was something that was boiled up right here in the Cayman Islands. And the person took it for 3-4 days, and he went and had the test done. And up to this day, he's still negative and back to work now and everything. I don't know what the Cayman Island government are doing or what they're thinking about, but you got Kenneth Christian in the Cayman Islands that buying natural herbs. They do not want to respect the interest of the human life. Anyway, that's all I have to say. You all have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. Okay.
Can I just say something?
Sure, Doc. Yeah, sorry about that.
But to the caller, if Mr. Christian has ingredients or herbs or whatever it is that that can help people with this pandemic that we have, or with any other thing, what I would recommend that he do is to patent it and put it on the market so people can see what they're taking, because people are entitled to know what the ingredients go into their system and make money from it.
Those are the same people who question what's in the vaccine.
So to call up the radio to say why they don't, the government doesn't what did he say? The government doesn't.
Is it support
Christian? So Christian has to go out and put himself in a position where he can get support, and that means that he should put his ingredients out. If if there are ingredients that are secret, he can patent them and so forth, and then go to some drug company and put his stuff on the market. That, it seems to me, that's what should be that's what he can do. If I had those ingredients, that's what I would do, and I would probably be making good money, and I probably wouldn't be sitting here with you.
Yeah, and the thing is that we have to be careful, because we know that there are other jurisdictions where people in the early stages of this, and maybe some even today, peddle this thing about bush medicine.
That's right.
And
that's right.
People resorted to it, and as a result of it, they ended up losing their lives as a result of it as well. So we have to be extremely careful in terms of what we put out there.
Yes.
One of our listeners has pointed out also, said, good morning, if a baby is COVID positive, they cannot enter the country, just like everyone else. And if they enter and test positive after they enter, they have to quarantine like everyone else. So it is not fine for a COVID positive baby to enter. And I'm going to go back and look and see exactly what that individual, who sent that in, the first one in, said in relation to that as well. Let's go. We have to take a commercial break. We do have a caller on hold. This is going to be our last commercial break. When we return, we're probably going to have about 10, 12 minutes left in the show. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
Radio Cayman News.
Paper examines the current landscape of tribunals in the Cayman Islands.
2 women are stalked, one of them attacked while walking in Georgetown Monday morning.
It is our government's intention to provide an increased emphasis on climate resiliency.
A COVID outbreak is reported at government's residential home that cares for adults with special needs.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We do have a caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Same to you.
And your family, okay?
Good morning to you too, ma'am.
Yes,
Happy New Year to you.
Yes. I want to say something about this COVID because this thing here is very, very confusing to people. What I have to say is that I have my kids. My kids are born here. I have 4 girls. They're born here. Okay. I said to them, when this COVID thing is going on, please don't take the vaccine because I don't believe in the vaccine. I myself, I said I'm not taking it. I believe in God. If people have faith and believe in God, they can live it out. God has shown me 2 vitamins that can help people get over this. Most of the people here in Cayman is not eating right. People need to eat local. Buy all the local stuff you can get and eat local. This is where the problem is. People don't know what they are eating. Nobody knows where this COVID is coming from. So everybody is putting their own 2 cents in and say, this is that, this is that. Some people don't have vaccine and some have it. My daughter have her vaccine. She went behind my back. Well, she's a big woman. She went and she got the vaccine. And you know what? She have COVID.
Mm-hmm. So, caller, tell me now something. If unfortunately, in the event that you get COVID, what are your plans?
I have faith in God. I have a gift, and I believe in God that I will never, ever get this vaccine, get this COVID. I will never get it. If you have
okay, and what are you doing? What are you doing to prevent yourself from getting it, other than just having faith?
Believe in God, nothing more.
You're not doing anything more. You're not wearing masks. You're letting.
I wear my mask because they say to wear mask. But everything that I eat local. I have my kids in Georgetown Hospital. There are 4 girls, and I never sick from the day I live in Cayman. I live here 40 years, and I've been always eating local. I don't eat meat. I eat vegetables, and I buy local stuff and eat. And I also buy those things for my kids. I grow them up on those things, and we never sick, never.
Okay, well, good.
I have my 4 kids in Georgetown Hospital, and when I have my kids, I can come out the same day. When I have my kids, I am very strong, and I eat pure local stuff. So people need to eat local. They are eating burgers. They are not eating good, and that's what's causing the problem right now. Okay. It's not because I am vaccinated and the other person is not. It's nothing like that. It's what you eat.
Well, Dr. McPhail eats healthy and very good, and he caught COVID too. Mm-hmm. So I would say to you, continue to do, including your eating, continue to do whatever else that you're doing and in terms of wearing your mask and stuff like that as well.
I wear my mask. I eat vegetables. I eat a lot of vegetables. Mm-hmm. I eat fish. I eat saltfish. I don't eat any meat whatsoever.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, caller, for that. Please
drink a lot of water.
Yes. Thank you very much, caller, for that. And please, please, please continue to stay safe. Whatever it is that you're doing to keep you safe and to keep the coronavirus from you, keep on doing it. And thanks for sharing your experience with us as well. Let's take our last caller for the morning. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning to both of you, Mr. Mark.
Hey, good morning. Good morning,
sir.
How are you?
Good morning. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too. Question, I go just say something and you all could come in on it after. I've seen where they made new changes to, the quarantine pertaining to vaccinated and unvaccinated. This virus has no decision on who is going to get the vaccinated and unvaccinated gets it. Why is it that the quarantine differentiates? The vaccine don't stop you from how long you have the virus. It stops you from the symptoms and stuff. So why is it that it's different times how long a vaccinated person being quarantined versus unvaccinated? And this is not a level playing field from my part. I don't believe what they're doing is fair because everybody, if you quarantine me for 10 days, quarantine everybody for 10 days. Pending they're doing their PCR test, this has to change. It has to be a level playing field because there are individuals that they're probably doing the 10-day quarantine that still end up getting this thing and having it longer. And some of them, I hear you saying that the unvaccinated is spreading it or they're more prevalent to have it, a large amount of them to have it versus the vaccinated. It's no different. Or see, when you go on the CDC and them website or America, whenever they're posting, you see the amount unvaccinated and vaccinated. They're all neck and neck. They're all neck and neck with me. All right?
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Got you. Thanks very much for that as well. So, Doc, we have about 5 minutes left. And I know our first caller this morning, Lord Graham, spoke about the permanent residence and the revocation of it. And you know, you being the chairman of the permanent residence board, I don't want to really put you on a spot, but just if we just speak about the whole principles involved. Permanent residence with the right to work. A privilege that has been afforded to people with the condition that you must pay the annual fee, the fee that is associated with the particular occupation that you are engaged in.
Yes.
As a permanent resident.
Well, listen
with,
now,
with
it's
the
a
right
privilege
to work.
that has given me the right to work for people who have been working here more than 8 years.
Yes.
And people who are married to people who are Caymanians. Those are the
because they get a residence and employment right certificate.
Yes. It comes with a condition that you have to pay, and usually the condition is the payment for the permanent residence is similar or is the same as the work permit that you had to pay for. The only thing now that you don't have to apply now to get a work permit every year.
Yes.
You have the permanent residence is for a period of 5 years, and it can be extended for another period of 5 years, which gives you, if you were married, if you were unmarried, or if you're married, and the permanent residency expires, you can apply for it again, which gives you the right then to, if you're married, then to apply for Caymanian status on the marriage, because then you would have gotten into the other years that are required for Caymanian status under the marriage section. So, some people have deliberately not paid for their permanent residence. Some people have deliberately not paid for it for many years, and the government, which is my boss, the minister, the Honourable Christopher Sanders, who's the minister, in which the permanent residency and the immigration falls under, and he's also the deputy leader of the government of the
deputy premier.
They came out with a statement last week, or I think it was the week before last, saying how many people had lost their residency, their permanent residence, because they hadn't paid. The fees have to be paid. There's no doubt that the fees have to be paid. There's a legal requirement that the fees have to be paid. If the fees are not paid, then what are the consequences? If the fees are not paid, the consequences is that you may lose your permanent residence, and of course the procedure is that you have you.
So the may is used rather than must. It's not
may,
obligatory.
Not obligatory.
Okay.
Because you heard what the Honourable Minister said. Letters were sent to people to remind them of payment. So that means it's not obligatory that it's going to go because you haven't paid. First, there has to be reminders and so forth, and then there has to be procedure laid down as to how the payment is going to be made,
right,
and so forth. If you have not paid the permanent residence, it means that there are consequences, and the ultimate consequences, the major consequences, is that you will get your permanent residence will refuse for non-payment of fees. It is quite simple as that.
Yeah.
And anyone who goes to a country where you have to abide by the laws, they should abide by the laws, because while many people arriving in our country endeavor to fit in, assimilate, and to learn about our culture and to follow our laws, some others just come and use the country for convenience. And I can tell you without fair contradiction, they are not going to get any assistance from me. Those people who use the country for convenience. Pay your permanent residence, pay the fees, and we will welcome you, and you will get on fine with everybody.
Now, if their ability to work is contingent on the payment of that fees, those persons for all of those years have been working illegally.
Exactly.
And those persons who, if they're not self-employed and have their, let's say a self-employed carpenter or something like that, then it is quite possible also that the persons employing them may have been employing them illegally. So is there any obligation on employers?
No, there's no obligation.
Who have employed a person with permanent residency with the right to work to at least check to see whether or not they're up to date?
No, it's the employer has no obligations to that. The employee has no obligation to pay or to see that the permanent residence is up to date. That is one of the privileges of the permanent residence, that you are free to be employed in the Cayman Islands on your own.
So from a legal standpoint,
I mean,
if I employed someone...
Not on your own, but I mean, there are some people that are self-employed and some people cannot be self-employed.
Right.
So if you are employed with an employer under a permanent residence certificate of employment, it is you who has to make sure that you pay your fees for the certificate of employment to the WORC. It's not the employer.
Mm-hmm.
The employer has nothing to do with that.
Yeah. Now I saw and I don't usually rely on social media for things, but I saw some comments on social media, people questioning, well, how is it, do they know it? These persons that they did revoke their permanent residence and others who never paid it, how do the authorities know that they haven't transitioned over to Caymanian status? And I asked that question, and I'll answer it at the same time.
Yes.
Because if they did acquire Caymanian status, then their status in the immigration system would change to Caymanian,
Exactly.
and they would be able to see that. So
exactly.
They know that these are still supposed holders of permanent residence with the right to work.
And the thing that happens is that when there's a changeover from permanent residence with a right to work certificate to Caymanian status, it's only a one time
that you pay for the status and that's it.
You pay for the status and that's it.
Yep.
The Cayman Islands government loses money then
Yep.
once they give the status.
Yep.
So they would know that the person is not obliged to continue paying for the permanent residence for the right to work.
And all checks would have been done, with those to ensure that those individuals. Okay, so Doc, I want to thank you very much for being here with us this morning. Again, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want, or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling, Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health.